How's it going, everybody? So in today's video, I'm going to be doing a trade recap from the trades that I took today on July 14th. I happened to take two trades within the first 30 minutes of market open on Microsoft, and I actually happened to lose a few bucks. And I also want to highlight really quick the newsletter watch list that I just recently launched. This is what I posted today. So this was the watch list, going over the overview of the market, the SPY and the Qs, a little sentence is the bigger picture, talking about the news on each individual name, the main levels that I'm always looking at, which is the prior day high, prior day low, pre-market high, and pre-market low, but also having a bigger picture idea as to what it could possibly do, just putting all of that right here. So this is everything that's in my head prior to market open. This is how I plan, so that way I can come to the market each day prepared. I post this every single trading day, 30 minutes before open on my private Twitter. If you're at all interested, I will have a link in the description below. So before market open, I really did think there was a chance for some good opportunities today. And this is a great example showing that when you come into the market each and every day with really high expectations, sometimes that can get traders into trouble because they have the approach of, if I can make $200 a day, I can make $1,000 a week. That means that's $4,000 per month, and that is the worst way to approach the stock market. It's always good to be positive before each market open and then trying to take advantage of the best opportunities based on whatever trading strategy that you have, but realizing that not every single day is going to be very exciting. There's going to be days where it's volatile and there's a lot of opportunities, and then there are a lot of days in between that's not very exciting, and pushing it and over trading can lead to big losses. And in my opinion, today was one of those days. I was able to realize it pretty quick off the open because nothing was super clear. There was a lot of choppy price action, and when I recognize something like that, I know that there is the possibility of it being a trickier day. And I know that when I try to push it, that can be my worst days. So when it's 20, 30, 40 minutes into the open and I don't see anything that I really like, maybe I've taken a trade or two and it just hasn't really gone my way, those are signs for me to back off. And then when it comes to that hour mark, I know I'm so much better just walking away, whether that means being green and giving some back or being red and not letting it get worse. Okay, so now to quickly go into the technicals of the market and the watch list and then get into the trades. And if you want to know the exact levels, just go back to that newsletter watch list. Feel free to pause it and then you can see them there. Looking at the SPY, prior day's high, gets above that, can go higher. Prior day's low, if there's any weakness, it looked like there was some downside room to the 9 EMA. The Qs, nice strong daily chart in an uptrend, takes out prior day's high, thought it could go higher. If it takes out prior day's low and there's weakness, did look like there was some downside room to the 9 EMA. Tesla has a little bit of a sloppy daily chart, showed some weakness yesterday, the levels I was watching, prior day's high, prior day's low, pre-market high, and pre-market low. And I was thinking if it could take out that 9 EMA, show some weakness, maybe there was some downside room to the 20 SMA on the daily. And now Apple, and the reason this was on my list is because it's made a new all-time high recently in a very strong uptrend. The levels I was looking at, prior day's high, prior day's low, it was trading above prior day's high, so the next level above, pre-market high. Baba, and the reason I was watching this is because it had a big gap up this morning. This is definitely a sloppy daily chart, but it got back above the moving averages, the 9 EMA, the 20 SMA, and the 50. It was trading just above it in the pre-market. The levels that I was looking at, prior day's high, prior day's low, it was above both of those. The next level to the upside, pre-market high, and it did have an upside gap to fill at 221.55 if for some reason this caught momentum. And now Peloton, so it got the downgrade this morning. It was trading below prior day's low. The next downside level that I was interested in trading around was this prior pivot low support area at 114.54. If it took that out, it did look like there was some downside room. QCOM, and the reason I was watching this is because nice period of consolidation on the daily chart. It's above all the short-term moving averages and the 200 SMA. It was above prior day's high. The next area above the level that I wanted to trade around was this prior pivot resistance high at 143.63. If it gets above that, it looks like it has room to the upside. And now Microsoft, so the reason I had this up is because it's a very strong chart, continuously keeps making new all-time highs, looks very similar to the Apple chart. The levels that I was interested in trading around, prior day's high, prior day's low, and also the next level above, pre-market high, 282.99. Okay, so now getting into the first trade, and one thing I want to highlight, if you look at the bottom right of the screen, it says 7:54 a.m. my time, it's mountain time. So we are 24 minutes into the day, and I have yet to take a trade. just because nothing looked really good. That right there is a sign that today may not be the most exciting day, so I just need to be careful and not push it. But after 24 minutes, I finally saw something that I thought was worth taking. So looking at Microsoft, knowing that it's very strong on the daily chart, had a bit of a sell-off at the open, got bought back up, it's back above VWAP, and it's approaching high a day, so I end up getting long right there. 5 contracts. I took the 280-250 calls. I got filled at 178. So knowing that all-time high is not too far above, I was trying to hold out for that move. Got a quick move in my favor, but as you can see, it pulled in right here, so I'm already in the back of my mind a little cautious. I have no idea what's going to happen. Could this continue higher? Sure, but just in case if that pullback is something worse, I don't want to be caught in that. So in my mind right now, I'm realizing that any sort of weakness that I see more, I'm just going to have to get out of this, take the quick loss so it doesn't become something bigger. On that candle that I got in on, I wanted to see that continue and not pull back at all. It's starting to pull back. I could have done a better job getting out of this, but being that the contracts are pretty cheap and it's not a huge mover, I did give this another minute, but I knew if it lost the 9 EMA, I'm better off just getting out. And this is exactly what I do here. So as you can see, pretty aggressive pullback from that high break, and I end up just getting out of those contracts at $1.56, and I lost 22 cents a contract. So unfortunately, it didn't work. It did not go as fast as I wanted to see it go, and that happens sometimes. Yes, had I been patient, this did come back. It eventually made a new all-time high, but we all know that it only takes one time where I'm a little too patient. I try to wait for that bounce to happen. It doesn't happen. It sells off more, and I end up taking a much bigger loss than I need to. Okay, now getting into the second trade on Microsoft. So how to pull back to VWAP. It's right back to high of day, so I thought maybe I just got shook out. Hey, it happens. So I give it a chance again for the high day break, also knowing that all-time high is not too far above. I got long the 280-250 calls, filled at $1.78, and then this is where I wanted to see it break high of day, start to speed up, make a new all-time high, and really get going. And as I'm in this trade, and this is my second trade on Microsoft, I'm starting to realize that I just don't really like trading this name. It doesn't move a lot. I really like trading Tesla, Amazon, Nvidia, some of the other names that have a lot of news attached to them where there's a lot of volume and they're really moving. So I kind of botched the execution on this because I got out a little early because I did not want to be involved in it. I just knew that this is not a stock that I'm a big fan of. So I ended up bailing on the position for a flat trade, and then just a couple minutes later, of course, it ended up having a nice move. And as you can see, it's just not moving very fast. It makes a push towards a new high of day, ends up pulling back a little bit. I didn't want to be in the trade anymore, so I ended up just getting out and only making 2 cents a contract. And check this out. Had I been just slightly more patient, I finally did get the move. But what I'm going to learn from this is that Microsoft is a stock that I just don't really like trading. Yes, some days it has really big moves, but overall, on average, it's just not that big of a mover. And that's what's so important about trading. You have to figure out what works best for you, the stocks you like to trade, whether or not you like to trade shares or options, and that just takes a lot of trial and error. Actually taking trades and then using that feedback to make decisions in the future. So even though I believe Microsoft is a great company, it's a stock that I am not going to be trading often. So now let's get into the P&L. 2 trades within the first 30 minutes of market open, both on Microsoft. One was a loser, one was a flat trade, and I ended up down $99. For me, it's all about not getting into trouble on those days that are less exciting, and then making sure that when volatility picks up again and there's really good opportunities, take full advantage of them. As a scalper, it's usually only a handful of days each month that put up the P&L. And I want to make sure to not get too beat up on the days in between, so I think I did a good job today. That was the trade recap. I appreciate you watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.